board meeting. Before we get started, I would like to remind board members and staff who are not speaking to please mute their microphone. If I detect background noise during the meeting as a result of unmuted microphones, I will provide a brief friendly reminder or simply mute your microphone. For members of the public in the audience, I please ask that board members and staff please identify themselves before speaking. To facilitate public comment today, we will be utilizing the WebEx question and answer feature. When the board president reaches a point in the agenda at which public comment is appropriate, public comment will be requested, and at the board's direction, I will turn on and announce the opening of the Q&A feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by clicking on that icon with a question mark within a square located at the bottom right-hand corner of the WebEx screen. Those instructions will be shared on the screen each time for your reference. In the Ask field, typically in the lower right-hand corner of your WebEx screen, members of the public who wish to make a comment will type, "I would like to make a public comment," and send to all panelists. Any other communication will not be responded to. Members of the public, it is not necessary to identify yourself in order to make a public comment, and I will take comments in the order that they are received. I will call on that member of the public and unmute their microphone. They will be given 3 minutes to speak and make their comment, and I will provide a 30-second time warning. At the conclusion, their microphone will be muted, and we will move on to the next member of the public who has public comment. Please note that the Q&A feature is being only used as a means for members of the public to represent that they would like to make a verbal comment. Once unmuted, that member of the public may verbally state their comment. This is not a means to ask questions of the moderator or members of the board, and such inquiries submitted using this feature will not be answered. If any attendees are utilizing a profane name, they will not be called upon to prevent members of the public from being subjected to profane language. While you are free to express criticism or negative views, for sake of members of the public participating on the call, please do not use profane language when making public comments to the board. If you do not have a microphone, please click on Audio and Video at the top of your screen and select Switch Audio. If you need further assistance, please refer to the How to Join DCA WebEx event guide that was provided with the board meeting link. And at this point, I'll go ahead and turn this over to our board president. Thank you.
I'm sorry, maybe. Thank you, moderator. This is Curtis Good. Welcome everyone to the 1 o'clock Structural Pest Control Board meeting. Susan, can I call on, have roll call, please?
Curtis Good.
Here.
Dave Smiley.
Here.
Eric Devermont.
Here.
Kyle Finley.
Here.
And Sebastian.
Susan, you're barely audible.
Oh. Okay, is that better?
Much better. Thanks.
Okay. Janet Thrasher, are you with us?
I'm here.
Okay. Let the record note that we have 5 members on this call, and that constitutes quorum.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, at this time, can we have the Pledge of Allegiance? I'll start us off. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. At this time, I'd like to welcome our new board members, Janet Thrasher, Kyle Finley, and Derek Devermont. So welcome to all of you, and appreciate your service to the state and to the consumers of the pest control products of California. Okay, at this time, is there any public comments that are not on today's agenda?
All right, this is the moderator, and at the direction of the board, I will open up the Q&A panel for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a public comment, please click on that icon with a question mark within a square located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen. We currently have instructions on the screen for your reference. In the Ask field, typically in the lower right-hand corner of your WebEx screen, please type, "I would like to make a public comment," and send to all panelists. I'll now pause a moment to give the public time to access that Q&A panel and submit their request. All right, this is the moderator. It looks like at this time there are no requests for public comment. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Please.
All right, the Q&A feature is now closed.
Okay, thank you. Okay, since having none at this time, I'd like to move on to petitions for reinstatement. At this time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to our Judge Van Rooyen.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. And did we need the video turned on, Madam Monitor or Moderator?
Yes, this is the moderator. I just enabled the video option. So if you click that button that says Start Video, that will turn on your video camera.
Okay, great. Perfect. I'm seeing people's faces pop up there now. And Mr. Sangeet, are you still with us? Can you hear me clearly before we go on the record?
Court reporter is here. You sound great, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. All right. We are on the record before the Structural Pest Control Board, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California, and we're here to review two petitions that have been raised for here. We'll take the order that here on the agenda. The first is a petition for reinstatement that was filed by Dawn Charette. This is license number OPR 9119, branches 1 and 3, and OAH case number 2020090450. My name is Wim Van Rooyen. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings for the State of California, and I've been assigned to preside over this matter. Today is October 20th, 2020 at 1 p.m. We are conducting this matter via WebEx video and teleconference due to the COVID-19 public health crisis and the governor's executive order N-29-20 dated March 17, 2020. Will all the members of the board please identify themselves for the record, please?
President Curtis Good.
Dave Tamayo.
Derek Devermont.
Kyle Finley.
This is a court reporter. Would the last speaker please repeat?
Kyle Finley.
Yes, and I believe the record can reflect that Janet Thrasher has also entered her appearance. I think her and Mr. Finley sort of spoke simultaneously, but I do find that we have 5 board members present, which constitutes a quorum of the board. May I also have the appearance by the Deputy Attorney General, please?
Yes, Your Honor. My name is Laura Pedicini. I'm a Deputy Attorney General in the Oakland Licensing Office, and I'm here today to represent the people of California.
Thank you so much, Ms. Pedicini, and welcome. And for the petitioner. That is you, Ms. Charette, I believe.
There we go. I got it. I'm unmuted.
Terrific. If you could just formally state your appearance, please.
My name is Dawn Charette.
Thank you very much. And I will reflect that the petitioner is present. In terms of the procedures for this hearing, first, the Deputy Attorney General will introduce the petition packet in this matter and provide us with an orientation of this case in the background. And after that, Ms. Charette, you will have the opportunity to make a presentation under oath to explain why you believe your petition should be granted. You have the right to call other witnesses as well to testify in addition to yourself. and then you and or any witnesses you call would be subject to questioning by the Deputy Attorney General and the board members. Just a couple things to emphasize. The board here is particularly concerned with the rehabilitation that you may have engaged in since discipline was imposed. So it's not necessarily a relitigation of the prior discipline, but focusing more on what took place since then. The petitioner is also reminded that the board has had the benefit of reading the petition package, and so there's no need to repeat everything that's included in the package, but you can certainly highlight or emphasize any portions that you deem appropriate. After the hearing, the board will go into a closed session to deliberate. You won't receive a decision today, but you will receive a written decision in the mail at some point in the future. Are there any questions, Ms. Charette, that I can address at this point in time?
I have no questions.
Thank you so much. And then at this point, I'll turn it over to the Deputy Attorney General to introduce the petition packet and provide us with an orientation to the case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. My name is Laura Petticini. I'm a Deputy Attorney General, and I'm appearing today on behalf of the people of the state of California. That's pursuant to Government Code 11522. I would first like to mark for identification and offer into evidence as Exhibit 1, the original petition packet with the accompanying documents. Normally, if this hearing were held in person, I would be at this point handing the packet to the administrative law judge and to the petitioners, but as the administrative law judge mentioned, they have previously been provided. The board members and the petitioner have the same set of this exhibit that I will be going over shortly. The Exhibit 1 for the petition for reinstatement and related documents consists of the following. There is a September 9th, 2020 letter from the board confirming today's hearing date and requesting confirmation of the petitioner. The petitioner's September 14th, 2020 confirmation. The July 8th, 2020 letter from the board to petitioner regarding guidelines for petitions and confirmation from petitioner of receipt of the guidelines. The petition itself, which is dated August 4th, 2020, and was received by the board on August 7th, 2020. The petition for reinstatement of revoked license declaration, which was signed and dated on August 4th, 2020. The request for live scan service for the petitioner, which was completed on August 4th, 2020. A copy of the decision and order in petitioner's fourth petition for reinstatement, a copy of the decision and order in petitioner's third petition for reinstatement that was effective January 3rd, 2018, and related documents, a copy of the decision and order in petitioner's second petition for reinstatement, which is effective June 24th, 2016, and related documents, a copy of the decision and order in petitioner's first petition for reinstatement, effective January 11th, 2015, and the related documents. Further relevant documents related to this petition include the notice of entry of judgment denying the petition for writ of mandate. That was in case number 37-20123-00052112-CU-PT-CTI, dated March 17th, 2014. It was the denial of the second writ involving a challenge to the decision upholding the penalties of revocation of petitioner Charette's license. Also, the judgment denying the petition for writ of mandate, the statement of decision in the same case number dated March 12th, 2014. The verified petition for writ of mandate in the same case number dated June 7th, 2013. A letter and decision after remand to the board ordered May 13th, 2013, effective June 12th, 2013. The statement of decision by Superior Court Judge Curiel in that state is September 3rd, 2012, and it is in case number 372012 0009-116-CU-WM-CTL. That is September 30th, 2012. This was the denial of the writ and the remand to the board to reconsider whether the penalties imposed were proper in light of the findings of the statement of decision. Then the stay of decision, the verified petition for writ of mandate in the first case with the same case number I just indicated. The order of the board modifying the board decision effective January 26, 2012. The order of non-adoption of the proposed decision dated July 8, 2011. The proposed decision of ALJ Mataszewski dated April 4th, 2011. The second amended accusation number 2006-57 dated January 3rd, 2011. And finally, the certified license histories. The certified license histories include operator's license number OPR 9119, which is branches 1 and 3. The field representative's license number FR 21851, branch 3. The field representative's license number FR 12741, branch 1. And the company registration certificate for the company doing business as DNS Termite Control, number PR 1164. Turning now to the jurisdictional and background facts. Petitioner Don Charette was issued field representative license number FR 12741 in branch 1 on or about January 18, 1985. Approximately 8 years later, on or about April 16, 1993, petitioner was issued operator's license number OPR 9119, also in branch 1. On or about May 1st, 1993, petitioner was issued field representative license number 21851 in branch 3. On or about May 18, 1988, the operator's license was upgraded to include both branches 1 and 3, and field representative license number 21851 was canceled. In March 2000, petitioner became the QM for DNS Termite. In 2004, petitioner began serving as the president as well as the QM. In or about March 2006, an accusation was filed alleging a number of violations related to the fumigation of a 30-unit condo building in San Diego in March 2005. The accusation was amended twice, resulting in the filing of a second amended accusation on or about January 3rd, 2011. An administrative hearing was held, resulting in a proposed decision that was not adopted by the board. The board decision modified the proposed decision, resulting in the outright revocation of petitioner's operator's license number OPR 9119, a 150-day suspension of company registration certificate number PR 1164, followed by a 3-year probationary term for the company registration certificate. Petitioner appealed the board's decision, which resulted in an order upholding the decision to revoke petitioner's operator's license effective June 12, 2013. The appeals of the board's decision became effective on March 17, 2014. The final Superior Court judgment on appeal held that petitioner Don Charette, quote, was the one who fostered a corporate ethic of cutting corners to save time and money in a business in which safety and the protection of human life must be paramount. and that's on page 7. Petitioner now brings a subsequent petition for reinstatement of operator's license number OPR 9119. Government Code Section 11522 requires a minimum of 1 year elapse before considering a petition for reinstatement of a revoked license following a prior denial of a petition for reinstatement. It has been approximately 1 year since the denial of the last petition for reinstatement. So this petition for reinstatement is properly before the board. At this point, that concludes my presentation, Your Honor. If Your Honor would like, I could proceed with asking petitioner questions.
Typically, the way I do it is I will have her testify first, and then I'll provide you an opportunity to ask her some questions. So I'll have you ask questions at that juncture.
Certainly.
This is a court reporter.
Anything else?
This is a court reporter.
The court reporter?
Hi, I apologize, Judge. You were coming in. Your connection seems to be lagging with your audio. Are there any other board members who are experiencing the same thing? Does it sound a little choppy for anybody else, or?
Yes, it's really choppy. This is Kyle Finley, and yes, it is really choppy when Judge Van Roon speaks.
Okay.
All right. Is it still choppy for you?
That's a little better. This is Janet Thrasher.
I'm wondering if it's due to background noise. I don't know what could be causing it. I think my audio connection was clear before, and I haven't changed anything.
This is the moderator. With the choppy audio, you may want to try to connect your audio through your phone rather than using your computer. Co-moderate. Oh, thank you, co-moderator. We have the instructions up on the slide right now.
All right, let me do that. See if that works.
Thank you. Your audio was getting a little choppy, but it didn't seem like it was too much, so I didn't interject. But let's get that. We will get that fixed. Give us one moment.
Judge, just to confirm, I did take us off the record while we.
Oh, thank you so much. I was going to say thank you. That'd be great.
Of course.
All right, this is the moderator. It looks like we have your phone's audio connection. Judge, are you able to unmute your microphone?
It's probably on. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, so you'll need to control your mute and unmute button from your computer's WebEx session.
I see, that was the problem. I was unmuted on my phone, but not through the computer session. So, but is my audio much clearer now?
Yes.
Terrific. All right.
Thank you.
Well, then if we're ready to proceed, Mr. Sangeet.
You sound a lot better, Judge. Thank you very much for taking care of that, and I am ready to go.
No, wonderful. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. My apologies for the delay. All right, we are back on the record after resolving my audio issues. So I was just saying to Ms. Petitioner that I will allow you an opportunity to ask questions after the petitioner has testified. Fair enough?
Fine, Your Honor. Thank you.
Terrific. All right, and just so the record is clear, were you moving to introduce the Exhibit 1 as the petition packet?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Charette, do you have any objection to admission of Exhibit 1, which is the entire petition packet that Ms. Petticini has summarized for us?
No, I don't.
Thank you so much. Then Exhibit 1 is admitted. At this point, then, Ms. Charette, it's your opportunity to testify under oath. Would you like to testify?
This is where I get confused. Am I doing an opening statement or just my position, or?
You know, honestly, we could allow you to just do an opening statement, but here's the deal with that. When you are not under oath, it's not evidence that we can rely on. So you're welcome to make an opening statement not under oath, but I would normally caution you that if any facts you give us during the opening statement, you would have to repeat during your statement under oath. So it usually makes more sense just to swear you in, and that way you can speak to us in whatever way you want. You can start with an opening statement and then address certain allegations or evidence in support of your petition, but that way we make sure that everything you say is under oath and can be considered for purposes of your petition. Does that make sense?
Understood.
All right. So if you'd like to testify, then I'll swear you in now. If you want to raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state, under penalty of perjury, that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you so much. And if you could just, now that you're testifying as a witness, also state your full name and spell it for the record, please.
My name is Dawn Marie Charette. Dawn is D-A-W-N. Marie is M-A-R-I-E. Charette is C-H-A-R-R-E-T-T-E.
Thank you so much, Ms. Charette. And so now is your opportunity to present your case. You can testify. You can, as I mentioned, you can either make an opening statement or however you prefer. But now is your opportunity to testify and present any evidence in support of your petition. I'll just remind you there's no need to repeat everything that's been submitted. The board members will carefully and have carefully reviewed that, but you can certainly highlight and emphasize any evidence that you believe is appropriate. Once you're done with your presentation, the Deputy Attorney General may ask you some questions and individual board members may ask you questions. All right? So whenever you're ready, feel free to proceed.
Okay. This is not the first time I've come before the board, and I have not retained any new proof of any type of education or rehabilitation. At this time, I'm going by the guidelines for the petition of reinstatement and what is required by the Structural Pest Control Board. And it is a matter of, I have complied with everything on this list to this date, from the beginning of this entire trial and everything. I went through the number one is the severity and number length of violation. I went through a 19-day trial. I've had my license revoked for 7 years and have had to readjust the way I conduct myself with the clientele and everything else in regards to me not posing or conveying to a client or anybody or consumer of any sort that I obtain or hold a license. I make it very clear that I do not, I do not go any further than that. This incident happened 15 years ago. It has been a long, drawn-out process for myself, as well as the board and its members. And I feel that it has come to the time that a reinstatement is a viable situation at this time. If we go into the prior disciplinary and criminal actions, in my history of holding a license, I have never independently received a violation of any sort. All violations with my name on them were incurred while I was a qualifying manager. and operator of DNS Termite. And it was on behalf of employees that were trained, and I have plenty of proof of training. We have programs and everything, and I have never received a violation. In the past 7 years of the revocation of my license, I have not received any violations. The company has had minor violations, but I am no longer the qualifying manager or the operator of the business. Right now, my duties consist of bookkeeping, HR, just your basic behind the scenes. When a client does require that I come out to a job site, I be sure to take a licensee with me so that they can form the opinion of the absence or the presence of any wood destroying organisms. The petitioner's legal and regulatory history prior to and since violations, I just went over that. My attitude during this entire 15 years has been, I think, the utmost exemplary due to the fact that I've gone through the 19 days of trials. I spent time with Mr. Sani and was very cordial with him, and as well as Ron Moss, the investigator from the Structural Pest Control Board. I've had interactions with Mr. Moss on occasions afterwards and still hold no ill will. I do not blame anybody for the occurrence that occurred back 15 years ago. I have found a lot of relief through therapy. I've had attorneys read over Judge Madawaski's findings, the trial, and everything. I feel very good in the outcome of that. And I feel the board has gone above and beyond to protect the consumer, which I can appreciate. But I do believe that my outstanding performance as a citizen has been exemplary. I haven't received any tickets or any problems. I did get a speeding ticket. I apologize. But I've been very positive through this whole adventure. And then we go into continuing our education with our industry. On several occasions, I have stated that it's nearly impossible to receive a certificate after attending a course. And that can also be proven by the fact that I've signed in at the Structural Pest Control Board meetings and have brought another licensee with me. He received a certificate, and yet I did not. So you see my frustrations in providing proof of my attendance or my education. It's a very limited. I do go into these classes, but I'm unable to receive a certificate in a lot of them. On a couple occasions I have. I have attended and passed the pre-operator courses for branches 1, 2, and 3. I scored well over 75 and over 80 in all 3 branches. I do not hold a branch 2, though I did take the pre-operator course for it, and I did pass that with an 86%. So I do know my industry. I was born and raised in it, and I work in it on a daily basis. So I have been doing everything that I possibly can to prove to the Structural Pest Control Board, as well as the consumer, that I am not a threat or a detriment to society. In fact, at this time, I believe my knowledge is being muted to the consumer when I am asked upon an opinion, and I'm not able to share my knowledge with the consumer at that time due to the fact that that would put me in a licensee's position, and I refuse to do that as I am not licensed. And we go into voluntary restitution. Honestly, I do not volunteer on behalf or because of the board. I do it because I enjoy it and people benefit from it. I work with Meals on Wheels. I work with the Department of Education. I was voted Parent of the Year through the San Diego and Imperial counties. I still continue to work with the schools. I was nominated for the Parent of the Year again and asked that they please give it to somebody else so that it can be shared upon the community rather than me taking it years consecutively. And they did, which was a good thing to me. I felt very good at the meeting of the Board of Education where they gave out that award. And I was very proud to say that I elected to go ahead and allow somebody else to take that award and become a better part of citizen and a part of the education system. I've been seeing a therapist since 2007. A lot of it is in regard to this case and my feelings of guilt and remorse. And I feel at this time that I have dealt through them and moved through them. As for taking responsibility, I take responsibility for everything that occurred on that job that day. And I realize that things cannot be changed. I can only become a better person and perform better duties for my fellow citizens in my community. The length of time and expense associated with this rehabilitation efforts, I've been at this for 15 years. I've been trying to put this behind me for 15 years. I've spent the last 7 of it with a revoked license. I have endured a great financial burden on classes, on therapy, on several things, just to be sure that nobody had the perception that I had a license. So this whole proceedings and everything has had a huge impact on me emotionally, financially, and honestly, it has made a huge difference in my life. Over the last year, I've come to a point where it does matter if I have a license, but I realize that it is not the center of my life. The center of my life is my family and, of course, my consumer. But most important is my family. I neglected them for many years, preparing for trial, going through trial, preparing for hearings for reinstatement. And the stress did wear very thin on my family. And we've overcome that. We've become better because of it. It's a hard thing to accept, but I have. And last but not least is the petitioner's reputation for truth and professional ability. I went on trial for 19 days, and Judge Medowowski, I can't say it, and I apologize for mispronouncing, it found me to be very honest. On several occasions, I could have misled the courts in regards to my answers or events, and I did not. And it did not shine brightly on me because I did admit to things because they were honest, they were true. I ask that the board take into consideration the length of time that has passed, that the emotional roller coaster I have endured. I'd like to put this all behind me, as I am sure most of the board members that have been going through this at the same time I have been. Some of the board members have changed, but yet some are still the same. And they have seen me every year in regards to reinstatement of my license. And if need be, it's asked that I pay restitution. I personally was not asked to pay restitution, but I did facilitate the fact that DNS Termite did pay restitution to the Structural Pest Control Board in the amount of $100,000. I made sure those payments were there, timely, and had funds to stand behind them, as well as my operator, who is also my father. He was there the whole time, but when it came down to the paperwork, I'm much more well-versed in paperwork. Therefore, I facilitated the suspension paperwork and everything. Before he signed it, he made sure that I went over everything to make sure that we were compliant. So in closing, I'd like to say that I, and I'm sure as well as a few of these board members, would like to put this case behind us and go on with my life and your own lives.
Thank you very much, Ms. Charette. Ms. Petticini, do you have questions for the petitioner on behalf of the Attorney General?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. Just a few. Thank you.
Sure.
So, Ms. Charette, I'm sure you're aware that the primary function of this hearing is to assess any rehabilitation from the conduct or behavior which the board found true, in that the board found the allegations in the accusation true that were related to the 2005 fumigation of the 30-unit condo complex at which someone lost her life. So the board is looking at not just your progress with respect to staying out of trouble and paying any restitution and your knowledge, continuing to increase your knowledge base through continuing education, but also at qualities like honesty and integrity and character. So you talked a lot today about how you found this whole process to be extremely burdensome to you. And just it's been so much time. You mentioned that you feel that your performance on probation has been exemplary. As someone new that's coming into this, the thing that seems to stand out to me in all the previous hearings is the inability to take responsibility and to show contrition and to continue to challenge whether the true findings should have been made at all. So I'm wondering, that's really my biggest question for you. I'm wondering how that has changed, that piece of the puzzle has changed since the last time the board met to consider giving you back your license, reinstating it.
I don't think my position has really changed. I have always accepted responsibility for everything that occurred on that job site on March 7th of 2005. I've never denied any of it. Was it all calculated? Was it intentional? No, none of it was, other than the decision to not bag food. And that was to get people back in their homes, and that's 30 families.
Okay, so if you were to be asked what is the specific role that DNS had in this woman losing her life, what would you say?
We were the fumigation company. That was the specific role. We injected fumigated into the structure.
Okay, and what have you determined you could have done differently?
I could have displaced another 30 families, a total of 30 families for an additional night, maybe 2. Could have it stopped the occurrence? I don't know. I have no idea.
So if you were in the same situation facing another job identical to this one or similar to this one, how would you approach it differently this time?
At this moment, I would not be on a job site as I do not maintain a license. If I had a license, our procedures have completely changed. We basically strip a house. I mean, we look under beds, we look in showers, we look in cupboards, we've always looked in closets. I mean, there is a mad search on homes when we perform a fumigation. Has it revealed anything other than what we normally find? No, it hasn't. But I feel that it is the best thing to do to go ahead and take that extended measure of investigating a home. I've had complaints from clients because of our invasive search of a home, not only for food, alcohol, and things that are inserted into the body, but also for persons, plants, and pets.
Okay, thank you. The Superior Court's decision denying your petition for writ of mandate back in 2004 concluded that one of the factors that was responsible for the death in this case was your leadership, in that the one who fostered a corporate ethic of cutting corners to save time and money created a business in which safety and the protection of human life was not valued as a paramount concern. Do you agree with that?
No, I do not agree with that. Human life has always been a paramount safety measure for me as a person, as well as the company. I spent 19 days on trial and had a completely different point of view from a judge that has been completely, I want to say dishonored, but that's not the right word. It's not even a consideration. It seems to me that most of the time, more merit is put into the writ of mandate and a judge that I did not spend 19 days with, that went solely off of what was found by the district attorney, which I would have to argue the fact of their investigation was nowhere near as thorough as any others, and which were all haphazard to begin with. I feel this case was not investigated properly on any authority, from the San Diego Police Department, the Department of Agriculture, the Structural Pest Control Board. I don't feel there was a thorough investigation on this. Had there been, maybe there could have been an agreeable conclusion on when things occurred. There is a difference of opinion from Judge Curell and Judge Metawoski, and I apologize again. There's a huge difference in opinion. Her recommendations are completely different from Judge Curell's in him denying the writ of mandate. And I by no means have any legal background whatsoever, but as a person that is working in society. I found it almost appalling that this judge was just completely disregarded in her opinion after spending 19 days, not only with myself, but all the witnesses involved.
Okay. So it's clear that judge did reach a different conclusion than other judges, but you're aware that 2 Superior Court judges determined that there was substantial evidence to support the board's findings, correct?
That I have heard. I have yet to be shown clear, concise evidence that the person was in that structure during the fumigation injection.
Okay, so is it still your position that the victim was not in the apartment at the time that the fumigation occurred?
It is my position that I cannot say where she was. She could have been inside, she could have been outside. There's no evidence to say either or.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just shifting tactics a bit, I know that you, or topics a bit, I apologize. I know that you have emphasized the time that you've spent in therapy, correct?
Yes.
And in the therapy, you've had a chance to examine your feelings of remorse, and I think you mentioned guilt, correct?
Yes.
And has a component of that also been examining the impact that this event had on the victim's family?
It has been discussed, but I do believe that is my confidential information.
Okay, thank you. I guess my final question has to do with acknowledging how many times you've been here, and just looking back over the course of the past year and wondering if you could just succinctly say what's different between the last time you were before the board and now. What would you say?
Not a lot has changed. I've definitely learned a lot more of patience, and it's a very difficult task, but I'm learning, and I don't think anybody could actually complete and be able to say that I want to be able to see both sides of a story and come to a medium conclusion where both parties are happy. I have found myself to be a lot more patient, and try to weigh the differences in 2 different stories. And I've learned to take life a little easier, that not only my life, but other people's lives are just as precious, and they need to be lived to the fullest and as enjoyed as possible.
Thank you. So how would you say then that those new skills that you've developed will make it more likely now as compared to the last time that the public will be kept safe in the event that your license was reinstated?
I will, and now I don't make quick decisions. Before I even speak or make a decision, I definitely give it thought. I no longer conform to the knee-jerk attitude in life and in communication. It's a matter of I've not only myself, but everybody in any situation needs to learn that there has to be a thought process before a decision is made. When I was younger, I definitely was a spur-of-the-moment decision maker. And I did what fit the situation at the time. Whereas now, I definitely I can't say for sure. I would not have said, okay, let's bag up whatever we can while we're getting the tarps on and address what's left later. But to this day and from day one, I have expressed that the reasoning behind my decision at that time to not bag the food was the essence of time to get 30 families back in their homes.
Okay, thank you. That concludes my questions, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fettuccini. All right, now we will have the board members ask any questions that they would like of you, Ms. Charette. So I'm going to start alphabetically with the board members, and then in this petition we'll go from the beginning of the alphabet to the end, and then I'll reverse it the other way for our next petition. So first, Mr. Devermont, do you have any questions for Ms. Charette?
I do. I believe you mentioned that there's been some charity work you've done since then. I believe you mentioned Meals on Wheels. And I think you mentioned that while you haven't gotten certificates from all courses, you mentioned that you might have done some. Is any of that in the record, or has it been exhibited, or have you submitted it?
The certificates that I have received have been submitted. My volunteer work is done on behalf of the organizations. It is not for the Structural Pest Control Board's means or my own. I find myself and my energy and my positive attitude to be more of a benefit to the charities than to burden them with the request of any type of certification or anything of the nature. I was I was reserved about even bringing up my my volunteer work because I don't think it's something that should be played upon. It's something I do as a human being. I've done it since I was a Girl Scout. I do it more now that I have a little more free time. Now that things have changed in my life, my children are grown in college, in the Army, things of that nature. I do have time on my hands to provide help to others that are in need.
Thank you. No more questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Devermont. And then next would be Mr. Finley. Do you have any questions for Ms. Charette?
None at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Finley. And then Mr. Good, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Ms. Charette, in your testimony today, you said that the investigations by the San Diego PD, Ag Department, and the Structural Pest Control Board wasn't done properly. What are you implying there, that three agencies all got it wrong, or they missed evidence, or what were you testifying to today about that?
I'm not going to say they got it wrong. I don't think anybody did anything wrong. I do believe that the investigation should have been started a lot sooner so that the evidence was fresher, that people that I know as well as Linda Williams knew should have been not investigated, questioned, when in fact they weren't. There were a lot of components that could have been researched and they weren't. Phone records, all kinds of things. It seems to me that the San Diego Police Department came to their own conclusion when they got some information from myself as well as Damian Peters in regards to the type of personality Linda Williams was.
Okay, one other question. Remind me, I didn't go through the entire case again, but was there not 2 security guards posted on this job site?
No, sir, there was only one.
Just one?
Yeah, and he was well into his late 70s and not as amble as he could have been.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. I have no further questions, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. President. And then next is Mr. Tamayo. Do you have any questions for Ms. Charette?
No, I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tamayo. And then finally, Ms. Thrasher, do you have any questions for Ms. Charette?
This is Janet Thrasher. I guess my question would be, if you were reinstated, would you take back over the position of being qualifying manager and operator at DNS Termite? Is that your goal?
More or less, yeah. I have found that it's okay to ask for help. Whereas before I was running the company by myself, now I have qualified good people around me to help me run the company rather than take on all the responsibilities involved with being the operator and the qualifying manager. Right now, my father, David Deeroff, is the qualifying manager, and he's also the operator, and he's also 85 years old. He finds this very stressful to have to come into the office because I do make him come in. He doesn't want to, so that he can see what's happening on a daily basis, partake, make decisions, rather than burdening me with it. As I have told him, it is not my job to make certain decisions due to the fact that that does require or should require a license.
And if you didn't get your license back and if something happened to your father, is there a backup plan for another operator and or qualifying manager at the company?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thrasher. All right, and let me just check with you, Ms. Charette. Obviously, you just had a lot of questions asked. Was there anything in addition that you wanted? I just wanted to give you a final opportunity to add anything that you haven't discussed yet. No obligation to do so. Just wanted to give you a final opportunity.
Understood. At this point in time, I don't believe I'm a detriment, a harm, or a threat to our community or society or anything. And I'm asking graciously, please reinstate my license.
Thank you, Ms. Charette. And just to make sure we didn't miss anything, did you have any additional witnesses that would be testifying for you today?
No.
All right. No, that's totally fine. Again, just want to make sure I'm asking and making sure there's nothing missing. And you don't have any additional documents to present other than what's already been admitted into evidence in the petition, correct?
No, I've got a good foot tall paperwork over here. I didn't need to kill another tree. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Charette. All right, so then that concludes the petition hearing in this matter. The record is closed. The case is submitted for decision, and we are off the record in this matter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sangeet, whenever you're ready, if you could just give me the official end time and page count, please.
This is a court reporter. Thank you very much, Judge. I have an official stop time of 2:04 p.m. with an official page count of 29 pages.
29 pages. Thank you very much. Mr. President, I defer to you. I don't know if you wish to take a break between the petitions or just let me know what you prefer. I'm happy either way.
I'd say let's go ahead and continue on. It's only been 1 hour.
That's fine by me. All right, then are you ready, Mr. Sangeet, for our next petition, or do you need a second to adjust?
Ready to go, Your Honor. Please.
All right.
Perfect.
The
All right.
moderator, I'll go ahead and promote our other petitioner up to a panelist.
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator.
All right, George, you should be able to unmute your microphone to speak and also turn on your camera by clicking that start video button next to your microphone icon.
Let's just check, Mr. Webb. Are you able to, can you hear us and can you speak? I don't know if it's just me, but I'm not hearing Mr. Webb.
This is the moderator. I am also not hearing Mr. Webb. Mr. Webb, if you are currently speaking, your microphone is muted. You'll need to click that microphone icon at the bottom of your WebEx screen. When it's green, that means you're unmuted, and when it's red, that means you're muted. Okay, looks like you're unmuted now.
Okay.
Hi, Mr. Webb. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
We can hear you. You're a little bit faint. I don't know if you could up your volume just a little bit there for us or be closer to the mic.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can. What about the other members? Clear enough for everyone?
This is the court reporter. He sounds okay so far. Mr. Webb, if I can just make sure that you are as close as you can be to the microphone, and I'm sure you'll be okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Sangeet. All right, so we're ready to get started on the record.
This is the moderator.
Yes.
Can I interrupt just real quick?
Of course, of course.
Wonderful. If I could just ask that if you're not currently speaking, if you could please have your microphone muted just to prevent any background noise during the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you for the reminder. I appreciate that, Madam Moderator. All right, so Mr. Sangeet, we're ready to go on the record. We are on the record before the Structural Pest Control Board, Department of Consumer Affairs for the State of California, where we'll take our next petition on the agenda, which is a petition for modification and termination of probation filed by George Kenneth Webb. This is OPR 9331, Branch 3, and also George Webb Termite Control, Inc., which is PR 7766 is the license number, Branch 3, and this is OAH case number 2020100013. My name is Wim Van Rooyen. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings for the State of California, and I've been assigned to preside over this matter today. Today is October 20th, 2020 at 1 p.m. was when the hearing was noticed for. It's now approximately 2:08 p.m. We're conducting this matter via WebEx video and teleconference due to the COVID-19 public health crisis and the Governor's Executive Order N-29-20 dated March 17, 2020. Will all the members of the board please identify themselves for the record, starting with the President?
Yes, Your Honor. Curtis Scott here.
Derek Devermont.
Dave Tamayo.
Kyle Finley.
Janet Thrasher.
Thank you very much. I'll let the record reflect that we have 5 board members present, which means that we do have a quorum for purposes of this petition hearing. May I also have the appearance of the Deputy Attorney General?
Yes, Your Honor, Laura Pedicini, Deputy Attorney General, appearing on behalf of the people of the state of California. Thank you.
And good afternoon to you again, Ms. Pedicini. And on behalf of the petitioner?
George Webb.
And good afternoon to you, Mr. Webb. Welcome, and thank you for your time and being here today. In terms of the proceedings for this hearing, the Deputy Attorney General will proceed first to introduce the petition packet and provide us with an orientation to this case, including its procedural history. After that, the petitioner will have the right to make a presentation under oath to explain why the petition should be granted. The petitioner also may call other witnesses to testify on his behalf, and the petitioner and any witnesses will be subject to questioning by both the Deputy Attorney General and the board members. I'll just emphasize again that the board is mainly concerned with the rehabilitation evidence the petitioner may have engaged in since the discipline was imposed. So the purpose is not so much to relitigate that prior discipline, but to look at the rehabilitative efforts and compliance with probation that has taken place since then. The petitioner is reminded that the board has had the benefit of reading the petition package, so it's not necessary to repeat everything that's included there, but you can certainly highlight or emphasize any portions that you deem appropriate. After the hearing, the board will go into a closed session to deliberate and decide the petition. You won't receive a decision today, Mr. Webb, but you will receive a written decision in the mail at some point in the future. Do you have any questions that I can answer before we get started with the substance of the hearing?
No.
Thank you very much, Mr. Webb. All right, then at this point, I will turn it over to the Deputy Attorney General to introduce the petition packet and provide us with an orientation to the case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. My name is Laura Pettacini. I'm a Deputy Attorney General, and I'm appearing today on behalf of the people of the state of California. That's pursuant to Government Code Section 11522. Petitioner George Webb has asked the Structural Pest Control Board to modify or terminate probation on his operator's license as well as his company registration license. I would first like to mark for identification and offer into evidence the packet for Exhibit 1, which contains the original petition packet and all accompanying documents. And that packet was previously provided to Mr. Webb, the petitioner, as well as to the administrative law judge. Exhibit 1 consists of the following. The September 9th correspondence from the board confirming Petitioner George K. Webb's hearing date for today and requesting confirmation. The September 21st, 2020 confirmation of attendance from Petitioner Webb. The January 17th, 2020 letter from the board to petitioner regarding the guidelines for petitions for modification and termination of probation and guidelines for reinstatement or reduction of penalty. General information on petitioning for modification and termination of probation, the guidelines that are considered. Next is petitioner's petition for modification, the actual petition, accompanied by attachments A through C provided by petitioner. An April 26, 2020 letter from the board to petitioner, which includes the stipulated settlement and disciplinary order in case number 2016-64, and the actual stipulation for a probationary registration. Then there are the probation documents. These include the memorandum to the board dated October 1st, 2020, regarding petitioner's successful completion of his rules and regulation hours, which were required by probation condition number 11. Also, there's an attached completion certificate. In addition, there is a letter from the board to petitioner dated January 13th, 2017. It acknowledges receipt of the rules and regulation course completion certificate dated September 18th, 2016. There's a memorandum dated October 1st, 2020, regarding the settlement of the civil case, including the settlement agreement and mutual release, and it also includes a copy of a cashier's check in the amount of $12,500. Additionally, the memorandum dated October 1st, 2020, regarding petitioner's compliance with probation and probation term and condition number 15, which covers cost recovery. Next, the letter to petitioner from the board staff dated July 12, 2019, acknowledging that petitioner's costs in the amount of $8,542.50 were paid in full. Next is a letter to petitioner from board staff dated February 6, 2019, regarding late quarterly reports. All other quarterly reports were timely, but this concerns a late quarterly report which was due on November 25th, 2018, and it was received on February 14th, 2019. Next is the quarterly, the probation inspection reports dated June 14th, 2016, March 19th, 2017, and a third one which encompasses December 19th, 2017, and January 10th, 2018. Finally included are the certified license histories. A summary of the case is as follows. The board issued petitioner's operator license number OPR 9331 on or about November 4th, 1994. On November 4th, 2014, the board issued registration certificate number PR 2644 in branch 3 to petitioner George Webb, covering termite control with George Webb as the owner and qualifying manager, QM. On June 26, 2008, the registration was upgraded to include branch 2, branch 2 with Dennis Mullen Olson as the branch 2 QM, and the name style was changed to George Webb Termite and Pest Control. On June 4th, 2014, the registration was suspended for failing to have a branch 2 qualifying manager. On August 14th, 2014, the registration was reinstated to include branch 3 only. Accusation number 2016-24, alleged violations of Business and Professions Code sections relating to a property on Noland Drive in Cameron, California. It will be referred to as the Noland Project. On or about May 8th, 2014, petitioner inspected the property for wood-destroying pests. The inspection was in conjunction with the house being in the process of being sold to a new owner. Petitioner made findings related to decay. He also made findings related to faulty grade and earth contacts with a T111 siding. He indicated in his report that several areas were inaccessible, including the deck and the garage. Petitioner's report also made recommendations about how to address these problems. On August 6, 2014, new homeowners moved into the home. They immediately noticed there was dry rot damage, there was a leaking shower, there was damage to the subfloor, among other issues. They notified petitioner, and on September 16, 2014, he re-inspected the Noland property, and at that time issued a supplemental report acknowledging that there was still evidence of decay to the gable and rafters, as well as decay in the master bedroom. Petitioner made some repairs at that time, but he failed to file a standard notice of completed or not completed with the board. Ultimately, on October 24th, 2014, the homeowners filed a complaint with the board, which led to the accusation, which brings us here. The accusation alleged 11 causes of discipline. They included failure to comply with the code, improper inspection, failure to properly treat subterranean termites, failure to complete the work in a quality and workmanlike manner, fraud or misrepresentation after an inspection, failure to file a notice of work completed and not completed with the board, failure to register a business address, failure to comply with reporting requirements, failure to make inspection records available, failure to properly label and store pesticides, and failure to supervise daily operations. That concludes my presentation of the documentary evidence in the case history, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Petticini. And are you offering Exhibit 1 into evidence?
I am, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
All right, perfect. Mr. Webb, do you have any objection to admission of Exhibit 1, that's your entire petition packet that Ms. Petticini has just summarized for us?
No.
Hearing no objection, Exhibit 1 is admitted. Thank you. Does that conclude your presentation, Ms. Petticini?
It does, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, Mr. Webb, now is your opportunity to present your case. Is it your desire to testify under oath today?
Yes, that'd be fine.
All right, then why don't I have you raise your right hand and I will swear you in. Do you solemnly state under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you so much. And now that you're sworn in as a witness, could you just state your full name and spell it for the record, please?
George Kenneth Webb, George Kenneth Webb.
Thank you very much, Mr. Webb. Now is your opportunity to present your case, and you can just testify freely. Let us know whatever you believe is relevant to your petition. Again, you can assume that the board members have reviewed your petition package carefully, so you don't need to repeat everything that's in it, but you can certainly highlight or emphasize portions you believe is particularly important. And once you finish with your presentation, then the Deputy Attorney General may have some questions for you, and the individual board members may have questions for you. So whenever you're ready, please proceed.
Okay. As of now, I am a company of 9 employees, including myself. At the time of this incident, I had a company of 3 people, myself, 1 employee doing repairs, 1 licensed inspector doing inspections. My inspector came in one day and said someone offered him more money to go work somewhere else. I told him I couldn't match it. The next day I did not have an inspector. One of my good clients that I had done business with for a long time called me up and wanted me to do an inspection on a house that she was going to flip. She had her crew, her own contractor that she worked with. And that's where I made my first mistake. I went up and did the inspection instead of pulling back and interviewing for a new inspector. I went up and did it myself. The agent and the contractor did the repairs, called me for a re-inspection. I subsequently did the re-inspection and certified the place. About a month after that, the owner of the property, Anthony Patterson, called me up and said he was running some wire under the house. This is a split level house. The area in question, it has a sub area that you can walk in. And he was running some wire under the split area, the area of this walk-in area of the sub area, and he said that he pulled some insulation away, running the wire, and he could see that there was some decay to the subfloor. So I went up and looked at it, and when I went up and looked at it, he had removed the insulation. It was obviously very decayed. There was a Roman-style tub shower on the top of the subfloor. On my original report, I had stated that the drain assembly was gone and I could not water test it. The homeowner, Anthony Patterson, had a contract there from my custom tile company for a new Roman-style tub shower, and he wanted me to give him $15,000. I told him I could fix the area myself for $2,000-3,000, and I could send somebody else to do it. He made it very obvious he did not want me on his property. He did not want anybody doing any repairs from my company on his property. I told him I wasn't going to pay him 15 grand, and he made a complaint. So when Tom and Eichen, the board specialist, investigated it for 6 months, and when he got done, I knew I was not going to be able to make the repairs that he required to prevent the issue from going to an administrative hearing. So I turned it over to my attorney and told him to make the best deal he can for me. My attorney did that. He got me 5 years probation and a fine and $12,500 restitution to the homeowner. That was right now about 4.5 years ago. I have complied with all the terms of the settlement. I've made the restitution, done the further continuing education and all of that. That's about it. The area in question is just past Folsom, and I completely forgot that it was in El Dorado County and not Sacramento County, and I was not registered in El Dorado County for applying pesticides, and that was a big mistake. So right now, what I've done for restitution, I no longer try to, I delegate administrative functions to office personnel to make sure that everything is done, and instead of trying to do everything myself, I make sure that we never apply any chemical to any county that I am registered with. And it's always been my practice to jump on any complaint and settle it and get it over with and get it behind me. This particular one, I could not settle it, and this is what happened. That's it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Webb. Ms. Pedicini, do you have any questions for Mr. Webb?
I do, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, please proceed.
Hi, Mr. Webb. As you heard earlier today, one of the primary functions of this hearing is to examine any rehabilitation that can be demonstrated both from the packet that you submitted and then from today's testimony. So I'd like to start by asking you some questions about this period of time that you've been on probation and what you've learned. The first question I have is, you completed your continuing education class, correct?
Correct.
And what was that class about?
I've got it right here in front of me. It's rules and regs. Rules and regs. Correct.
What, if anything, did you learn from that class?
What did I learn? Well, it's been about 2 or 3 years since I took it, but it's always good to get a refresher of the importance of meeting all the filing mandates. Always filing reports within 10 days. Making sure inaccessible areas are listed with an option to for further inspection. and field notes. Keep field notes for 3 years. Keep notices of completion for 3 years. Make them available to the board specialist upon any review, and just to be sure I always try to stay in compliance with filing with the board requirements for filing and keeping documents.
Thank you. And you testified earlier that you now have some office help that you didn't have at the time of this incident. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
If you were to, well, first of all, how has that helped you?
Since this incident happened, my wife's 2 sons from the Philippines have migrated here. They're 2 excellent young men in their 20s. They both now are branch 3 licensed inspectors. One of them has his wife here. That wife, Jaladin Pasis, is the office manager. She is college educated, has a teaching degree in the Philippines, and everybody likes her, and she's doing a really great job.
Great. So has it helped you to become more organized and on top of your tasks?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, she's got a great memory. She's a very organized person. I can, whenever I can't remember something, all I got to do is just ask her. Boom, she tells me exactly when I did it, and where it was at, and so on and so forth.
Okay. And if the board opted to grant your petition and your probationary period was reduced, would you continue to use this person? Would you keep her employed at your office?
Oh, absolutely. They're all permanent employees for the next.
Okay.
They're in it for as a career choice for their lives, and this is what they want to do.
Great. Now, in addition to the course that you took on rules and regulations, were you asked to, what were the other terms you were asked to fulfill?
I had to pay a fine, 9,000 something. I had to pay for the cost of the investigation, 2,000 or 3,000. I had to pay restitution to the homeowner, 12,500, and I think that's it.
And as of today, you've completed all those terms, correct?
Yeah, I've completed them all quite some time ago.
Okay. Now, there was a mention of one period where there was a late report in November of 1 year. Do you have an explanation for why that occurred?
I really don't know what that's about. I really don't know. After I visited the property that one time, I never revisited the property or looked at any of the documents pursuant to this case, so I really don't know.
Okay, I think that's having to do with, you know, your regular reports that you're supposed to provide to the board or to the agency.
Yeah, I heard mention that I didn't file a notice of completion from working on the property. I really don't know what that. I didn't. My worker. I replaced one board in question, gable at the end of a gable rafter, and that must be what they're referring to. I did not make a notice of completion.
Okay, that's okay, Mr. Webb.
This is the court reporter. I apologize for interrupting. Mr. Webb, the audio is cutting out a little bit as you're swaying back and forth. If I can have you please, sir, move a little closer to the microphone, that would be great. Thank you very much, sir. I apologize for the interruption, counsel.
Oh, no problem. I apologize for speaking over Mr. Webb. Thank you, Mr. Court Reporter. Now, Mr. Webb, in your petition for modification / termination of probation, you indicated in attachment A, you listed several reasons why you felt that it was warranted for you to get the relief that you're seeking and have your probation terminated. One of the things that you indicated was that your violation of the Structural Pest Control Act was not intentional, nor was it intended to deceive anyone, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, but what would be different this time to ensure that you wouldn't overlook something once you're off probation?
I don't do difficult inspections anymore. If I do an inspection, it's a slab house, stucco exterior. That's about 2 or 3 years old. I got 2 young men, stepsons. One of them was a student at the engineering college in the Philippines before coming here. They are extremely knowledgeable. They're licensed. They do, right now they know how to do granite, tile, laminate flooring, eave repair, roofing, stucco. They're 2 great young men, and they do the inspections. If there's any difficult inspection, they're the ones that do it, not me.
Okay. And you indicated in your application or your petition that you have not had any criminal violations during this period of time, correct?
Absolutely. I haven't had any criminal violations in my life.
Okay. Have you ever had any other violations with the board besides this one?
Yeah. I think in 97 or 98, Peterson investigated and a complaint again in El Dorado, again, drywood termites. I immediately took care of the problem, fumigated the place at no cost to the owner, and the thing was resolved and the case was dismissed.
Okay. And I'm sorry, approximately when was that?
It must have been 98, 99, somewhere in there.
Okay. So if the Structural Pest Control Board does decide to reinstate end your probation, how can it be sure that the types of problems that were encountered in this case won't happen again?
Well, the problem of not happening again is contingent upon the homeowner allowing me to make the repairs. If a homeowner will not allow me on the property and he's already got somebody else that he has a contract with that he wants to do the work, and he won't I can't force him to allow me on the property. As long as a homeowner wants it done and works with me, I'll resolve the issue in accordance with standard building procedures and the Structural Pest Control Act.
Okay. Okay, I don't have any additional questions at this time. Is there anything else you'd like the board to know?
No, just that they've got 2 great young men licensed here working under their industry.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Petticini. All right, so now, Mr. Webb, I will provide the board members with an opportunity to ask you questions if they have any. Let's go in reverse alphabetical order this time. So starting with Ms. Thrasher, do you have any questions for Mr. Webb?
Janet Thrasher here. Mr. Webb, do either of your stepsons intend on getting their operator's license anytime in the future?
Yes, they plan on it. I think.
And right now you do have another operator on board, but you're still the qualified manager?
Yeah, the other operator I have on board is Dennis Olson, the board specialist that used to work for you. So he's a great guy, and if I had any questions, I just go ask him, and he tells me pretty much what is and isn't.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Thrasher. Mr. Tamayo, do you have any questions for Mr. Webb?
Thank you, Your Honor. No, I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tamayo. And let me see where we are alphabetically. I believe it would be Mr. Good. Do you have any questions for Mr. Webb?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Webb, Curtis Good here. Part of your guidelines and for reinstatement is for regarding your rehabilitation and any community type services that you've done. I don't think I heard you mention any type of community services. Has there been any?
No, probably not. I take my elderly parents to the Pentecostal church on Sunday, but my dad just recently deceased about 2 weeks ago, so I don't do that anymore.
Okay, so no charity groups, no organizations you volunteer with? My wife and I take her to a lot of thrift stores, yard sales, and she buys clothing and we send it to the Philippines. But that's about it. We send Balakbayan boxes, ship them out on Mac Road. We usually send out 2 or 3, a couple boxes a month. Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. I don't have any more questions.
Thank you, Mr. Good. Mr. Finley, do you have any questions for Mr. Webb?
Just more curious on about 6-7 months away from probation, why are you petitioning to be off probation after 4.5 years?
I wasn't aware I could even petition to get off probation. So I happened to talk to my attorney, and he told me, and it would be nice to get off this year so I can start the new year off as not being on. And as you know, it would be nice just to get off and just to go on and get this behind me.
Okay, and one more question on when it was asked about the agreement that you had back in April 2016 with the board on the submit to the board quarterly reports of your activities. When that was asked, it seemed as if you didn't know about what that was. When Petitioner was asking that you were late on the November one, it didn't get submitted till February. You seemed as if you didn't know what it was, but it was in your agreement that quarterly with specific dates that you were going to submit these. Looks like there's a list of 10 things that you were agreeing to submit. Do you know what that is?
Yes. Someone from the office there brought it to my attention, and I had it was something that I had overlooked, and I think after that I done on the quarterly statement every time since then. It just took a little bit to get in sync with that part of the probation.
Okay, no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Finley. Mr. Devermont, do you have any questions for Mr. Webb?
No questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Devermont. All right, I believe that's all the board members. Mr. Webb, I just wanted to give you a final opportunity. Was there anything, I know you've been asked a lot of questions, anything else you would like to add before we close the record in this matter?
No, that's it.
All right, and just to be sure, no other witnesses to testify on your behalf today?
No.
All right, and no additional documents other than what we've already admitted in Exhibit 1, correct?
Correct.
Thank you so much. All right, then at this point, the hearing in this matter is concluded. The record is closed. The matter is submitted for decision, and a written decision will be issued at some point in the future. Thank you very much. We can go off the record.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Sangeet, if you could just give me the page count and the end time, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have an end time of 2:45 p.m. with a page count of 20 pages.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. I believe that at this point, that concludes all the petitions we have today. And then, so pursuant to subdivision C3 of section 11126 of the Government Code, the board will meet in a closed session to consider reinstatements, proposed disciplinary actions, and stipulated settlements. And so I'll turn it back to the board president. I don't know if a break is appropriate or if we go straight into closed session. I'll leave that up to you, Mr. Good.
Thank you, Your Honor. Why don't we go ahead and take a 5-minute recess, and then we can come back and go into closed session.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
This is a court reporter. I will go ahead and sign out. It's always a pleasure to see everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sangeet. Appreciate it.